So today we're discussing intuition. Intuition. So we've all experienced that gut feeling, haven't we? That instinct that tells us which direction to take, or one that helps us to make a decision without any logical backing or explanation. But what is intuition really? Can we learn to recognize it? And should we trust it? So, what exactly is it? Well, at its core, intuition is our brain's way of processing and understanding the world at a subconscious level. So it's the opposite of logic, isn't it, really? We might sit down and logically work through an idea and try to work out consciously what the best decision to take would be. Intuition is the inverse, isn't it, really? It's that quick feeling or insight that seems to come from nowhere without that logical explanation I mentioned. Intuition isn't just a mystical feeling, though, is it? It's grounded in something. Maybe it's our experiences, maybe it's our end goal, maybe it's past knowledge, or maybe just pure instinct. Neuroscientists even have an explanation for it. And they say that intuition happens when our brain quickly assesses patterns and cues we're not consciously aware of. You get the hair standing up on end, you get the feeling in the stomach, you just have a desire to go somewhere. You don't know why, but when you go there, you realize actually this was meant to happen all along. If you've seen Harry Potter when he takes the good luck potion, Felix something, and he just has a feeling to go and see his friend Hagrid. This is the sort of thing that intuition feels like. It might be that you meet someone for the first time and you get a feeling about them, don't you? Maybe it's from their body language, their energy. You're not sure what it is, but you have the feeling that that person is a good person or, in fact, a bad person. The process is instinctive, fast, and this is why intuition feels like it appears from nowhere. Intuition itself, though, can be strengthened. Like a muscle, practice and self awareness can create improvement. The more we pay attention to these nudges, feelings, the clearer and more trustworthy they become. Think of intuition as an iceberg. The conscious mind is the tip above the water, while the unseen part of awareness is submerged below the water, storing deep insights and experiences that may guide us. So there seems to be a role for intuition in decision making. In fact, it can be crucial. Have you ever felt, and I'm sure you have, a pull towards a choice or a sense of caution to avert you from a choice you're about to make? Maybe it's a person, maybe it's an event, and there doesn't seem to be huge amounts of evidence. A lot of successful people credit intuition for helping them achieve these great things. Steve Jobs, for example, trusted his gut when designing products. He actually said that intuition helped him see potential where logic failed to. It's a tool that's particularly valuable in complex or ambiguous situations. When there's unclear data and there's no real decision on the table, intuition can cut through all of the noise and offer a kind of true north, somewhere to aim at, a direction to take. Firefighters have talked about this before as well when they say they have a sudden instinctive feeling of danger. They report moments where, again, without any clear evidence, they feel the need to exit a building and seconds later it collapses due to an explosion or something more structural. Their intuition was able to tap into cues and patterns that they've only subconsciously observed over the years and wasn't something that they consciously can put their finger on. Therefore, this intuition and instinct can literally be life-saving. Can you think of a time where you've had a strong feeling about a decision? And I'm actually asking an answer here from you. This is a thought experiment. Was it a choice about a job, a relationship, or just a major life change or life move? Did you actually go with the intuition? Did you trust it enough to act in faith? Or did you try and rationalize it away? Oh, well, I haven't got the money for it. It's going to take me too much time. It's too difficult at this point in time. Are you someone who tries to go against your intuition? But what we should do is reflect on how it felt in the body and what the outcome was, especially if you didn't listen to it. There is a philosophy called Taoism and a principle called Wu Wei that sort of just shed some light on this. It's a Chinese philosophy focused on living in harmony with the Tao, hence the name Taoism, but it's also known as the Way. There is a natural flow that underlies everything. And Wu Wei means, or is translated as, non-action or effortless action. It doesn't mean inaction, however. It means acting in alignment with the natural rhythm of things. It's about moving with the flow rather than fighting against it, much like intuition itself. You will have experienced the best nights of your life without a plan, the best days of your life without a plan. When it's just a case of let's just go here, it was a feeling, whether that's individually or collectively. Lao Tzu, who's the author, wrote, "The wise man is one who knows what he does not know." And what he's suggesting is that true wisdom comes not from forcing solutions, but from trusting and responding naturally to what arrives. It's about being so in tune with the world, with your own nature, that your actions flow effortlessly and align with your true self. And actually, you're still making decisions, aren't you? But you're making them based on the intuition and going with the flow as opposed to trying to cut across the grain. Rivers, they flow around stones in their path, don't they? They don't always just break through them. It doesn't struggle, it tries to take the route that it's being shown and adapts. We should trust the flow rather than resist it. And this is how intuition works. When we act on intuition, it gives us an inner calm, doesn't it? Rather than calculated control. An artist might let inspiration guide their work instead of rigidly planning each step. Writers say the same. They describe being in the flow and they let it get led by intuition. So imagine you're facing a decision there, but instead of trying to force a solution, you let yourself relax and wait for a natural feeling of clarity to arise. That's Wu Wei, the art of moving with life's flow. So recognizing intuition then can actually be quite challenging, especially if you're not someone who is fairly introspective, because it's generally subtle and easy to dismiss. It should feel calm and clear though, and without any urgency or anxiety attached to it. It's kind of like a nudge as opposed to a loud alarm that you hear waking up in the morning. A great way to connect with your intuition is through mindfulness, taking a few moments each day to slow down, tune in, and absorb your thoughts without judgment. You create the space to hear your inner voice more clearly. You've heard of those examples, haven't you, about people having a strong instinct to avoid a flight. They switched flights and the flight crashed or had turbulence or whatever else. It's a whisper in a noisy room. When you give yourself moments of quiet, you create space to hear. So now that we know a little bit about it, let's think about ways to strengthen it. I know we've sort of touched on a few, but relaxed awareness is one. Think about observing rather than controlling. Notice what comes up naturally and then what you're drawn towards rather than forcing specific outcomes. Use visualization as well with non-attachment. So when you're faced with a decision, visualize the options in your head, play them out, and then pay attention to how each one makes you feel. Wu Wei and intuition both suggest allowing yourself to notice when it's naturally right rather than overanalyzing and, creating spreadsheets. And then maybe you can experiment with daily intuitive decisions. You can maybe use it to choose a route to work, deciding on a meal, where to go for a drink, what to order. Mm, You know, there's a lot of decisions in everyday life. So it's about trying to understand how you're coming to those decisions and maybe looking at the intuitive side. The small, effortless actions can build your ability to recognize what intuition actually feels like. So some common myths then maybe that it's something for only gifted people, or that you need to have some kind of superpower, or that it's bullshit. But in reality, it's accessible to everyone. It's actually a natural part of our psychology and our nature. When we let go of control and allow natural responses, we're more in tune with our inner voice. And it's not just an emotion. Intuition is often mistaken for desire or fear, but true intuition feels steady and grounded, in fact. Athletes use this as well without recognizing it. They train so extensively that their bodies and minds work together instinctively on the field. It's not magic, it's intuitive, it's deep, and it's built on experience and flow. So, what we need to do is take away from this that actually one of the ways or one of the reasons that we can feel lost is because we just go for the logical choice every time. We're being told things by our subconscious mind, our intuition about where we should be going, where should we be heading, and actually not to necessarily plan so much and go with the flow. But we tend to not do that. Maybe you're someone who needs to go with the flow a bit more and follow that intuition. Lao Tzu, the author of the Tao Te Ching, says a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving. We all have, and I know this just because of how many people I've spoke to as a coach, how many people have this ambition or this bucket list goal to just pack up some things and go. They don't know where they're going. They're just going to follow their intuition and enjoy the journey. Life can be like that. We need to, at crossroads, use our intuition to decide on what we should be doing and not have a regimented plan. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't plan, we should, but also there's got to be some flexibility within that to go with our instincts. So try to look at this maybe in a macro level, some of your big goals, see what intuition tells you. Maybe it's the micro stuff. Tomorrow, just go with the flow. Think about where you should be going or who you should be speaking to, who you should be messaging, and your mind will give you ideas. So remember, sometimes we need to go with the flow.